the Zigwheels review of the Yamaha R15 V3.
Click on the subscribe button and press the bell icon for more updates.
Zigwheels review of the Yamaha R15 version 3 and it's arriving right now, and we asked you to design this review. You can stop here and we're going to start a review with something which a lot of you consider to be very important. Ishan is going to be sitting in the rider's seat for now, while I hop on to the pillion seat. And the shout out goes to Yogesh Pilankar. He said he would get into trouble with his wife if he didn't know how good the pillion seat was, and we're going to show you. Swing a leg, it is a bit of a stretch. Hop on, you have to hop on. But once you're on, it's interesting, you don't feel like you're sitting as high up and above the rider as you did on the V2. And that's because Yamaha's actually dropped the gap between the rider's seat and the pillion seat here on the V3. So it is better than the V2 for sure, but is it the ideal motorcycle to ferry your wife around or not? That's a question you're going to have to figure out. So the much memed Vikram Betal feeling has been reduced dramatically. So it is a bit more practical here. Next, Raman Iyer and Santosh Kumar asked us this. What's the difference in seat height between V2 and V3? Well, this is higher by 15 millimeters. That's 815 millimeters. Well, that's cleared up. What's it like for a 5 feet 3 inch rider or for shorter riders? And this question was asked by Rakesh Sahu, Osama Bota, Javed Sayed, Milan Nagendra. So, I'm 5 feet 6. I can get my feet down flat on the ground. But if you're 5 feet 3, you'd be a little bit on tiptoe, but still, it would be manageable. The seat is slim, so you can get your feet down quite easily in that sense. We even asked a 6 foot 3 inch rider to try it on for size. And while he did look a bit awkward, there were no obvious areas of discomfort for him. What about the seating posture? Is it aggressive? Now this question was asked by Hari Sri. He said, is it as racy as the RC or is it as laid back as the RS200? Well, here you go. As you can see, it is a bit sporty, and in fact the seating position is sportier than the V2 because, like we said, the seat height is higher, the clip-ons are a little bit lower. So when it comes to the seating posture, this is definitely more aggressive than before. Now we change focus from comfort to creature comforts. Now we focus on the instrument cluster and all LCD unit. This, of course, has its usual display of fuel levels, speedometer, odometer. Along with that, it's got 2 trip meters, a programmable shift light, instantaneous fuel consumption, average fuel consumption, average speed, all of that. But the reason why we're focusing on this right now is because of a question that was asked by Karan Dambre. And he asked, there's a welcome screen on this where the display shows hello buddy. Can it be customized to show his name? The simple question, yes. Using just those 2 buttons, it would be a little painful to do that. You could get your name to be seen on the screen every time the bike starts up. So, hello Karan is something that you can do with your bike. The V3's accessories were much asked about as well. Sarvana Guru, Dinesh Sham, ROSVS. I asked you, I am not sure how to pronounce that. You asked us about the features, specifically the USB plug-in. And well, it's not that on this bike, it is an accessory that Yamaha will offer, and it seems to be a standard accessory. It's planted here next to the fairing, and you can connect your phone cable from there to a mount here to charge your phone. And along with that, people have also asked about the hazard switch, and there isn't one over here. We finally got our hands on an accessorized R15, and while the USB port is a handy feature, it seemed like an afterthought. Disappointing. So Sudipta Sau asked us about frame sliders, and those are available as accessories for the V3. Cost about 2,450 rupees, mount somewhere around here, not mounted on these bikes. Jinsen Jose asked us if we could show him a crashed bike to see if the frame sliders work. Sorry man, we couldn't do that, but Yamaha say the frame sliders will protect the bike from light crashes. Now Here's something we weren't asked about, and that's the design. But we have to say that with those slim all-LED headlamps, the R1 inspired fairing, and even the neat gills cut into the tank, this V3 looks like a baby R1. The floating tail panels are a clear highlight. However, there is one downside: the quality. It really isn't up to the standards that we expect from Yamaha. Welds, misaligned plastics, and the cover for the pillion seat removal bolt were all a bit tacky. But now let's move to the heart of the matter. Larson William, you're my brother geek, and now let's discuss the engine. Well, you could consider this as an almost all-new engine because it has a bigger bore, it has a new head, it's got a new clutch, it's got the same gear ratios, but it's got an upgraded cooling system to make it more reliable. And that aside, you of course have to talk about the variable valve actuation. Yamaha calls it VVA, Honda calls it VTEC. Basically, you have one cam that operates at low RPMs to give you more torque and rideability, and one cam to give you better performance at high RPMs. That aside, Yamaha's also changed the final drive gearing, which means the rear sprocket's just a little bit bigger to give you more grunt, more acceleration. Still with us? Good. Because a lot of you wanted to know whether the V3 is smoother than the V2 or not. Somnath Bose, Farhan Ali, Kolkata legend, Saur Seth. You guys were the first few to ask about heat, vibration management, and whether the V3 would be fine to ride around in the city. Well, quite simply, heat we can't talk about. We're in a steamer out here in Chennai, and we were riding on the track, so we are running at a pretty good pace. I rode the motorcycle in 5th gear, pulled it from under 30 kilometers an hour, and pulled nice and clean. From 2000 RPM, which is idle, it pulls forward with just a roll of the throttle, without any chugging or prominent vibes or hesitation from the engine. So in terms of commuting in the city, this would be just fine. If you decide to just open the gas, head to the upper end of the rev range between 8 to 11,500 RPM, that's where you'll start feeling the vibes from the engine. But even then, they're not enough to put you off. Sukrit Kale, you commented that the V3 would probably be painful for highway touring. Let me just clarify that the engine would be quite at home on the highway as well. You'd cover distances comfortably. But the seating position, it is aggressive. So that would lead to some pain in your triceps and wrists. How does it sound? Well, it is smooth but deep. We like it. Because of that, the lever also sits just a little bit closer to the handlebar, making it that much easier to operate. Keep in mind that the V3 is heavier than the V2 by 3 kilograms. So the claimed faster acceleration and better fuel efficiency is all the more impressive. We'll have to wait to test it out, but for now we can tell you that we hit a top speed of 133 kilometers an hour in 5th gear. So there's plenty of scope left to go faster. However, you will need a lot of space, as in the higher gears, the grunt drops a bit at higher RPMs. Nonetheless, this is an impressive engine. Moving on to the next most important part, the chassis and suspension. And this point was raised by Gunasaleen C. He asked, is the suspension carried over? No, it's not. Yes, we've got straight telescopic forks now. We don't get upside down forks like international markets, but these are 41mm dia forks instead of the 33mm dia forks earlier. And you continue with a monoshock at the rear, but the swing arm is now smaller. It's wider, and so is the chassis, just a little bit wider. Why? Because you've got that wider tire out back, a 140 section, and right now the bike that we rode out on track uses a Metzeler, which is a radial, but for the V3, the standard bike does with a regular bias ply tire. Also looping in Nishant MK here, who along with Gunasaleen wanted to know about the handling, and that is again a beautiful point about the R15 V3. Doing a little bit of flashback here, the V1 was known for its agility. It had those skinny tires which, well, a lot of people did not like, but it performed on a track beautifully. Then came V2. It got wider tires, it got a longer wheelbase, it offered a lot more stability, so, newer riders felt a lot more confident on it, but it traded in a little bit of the agility of the V1. And now with the V3, you have even broader tires, but the wheelbase has become smaller, the rake angles become sharper, trails reduced. Basically, it's promising a lot of fun on track, and it turns out to deliver exactly that. You can turn in really late, it turns in really quick, and therefore allows you to really attack corners.